Hello everybody and welcome to the playthrough for the back nine of the Quail Hollow, the new lovely Quail Hollow in the PGA Championship 18-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. In this playthrough I will go through the back nine holes. You will see me play a mix of free-to-play and some paid balls. I'm using some of the replays that we do have from the qualifying round, which will then display obviously the correct qualifying round win, but some of the holes will not have the correct qualifying round win, so don't rely on everything to be exactly the same. Scan the QR code here on the screen to get started with a free 7-day trial. More about that in the video as well. You do have the info box on the right hand side for club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Now let's go to hole number 10. On hole number 10, we're starting with P7 NMT, and we apply max top spin 1 right spin. We then adjust with our Apocalypse and the P7 ball, preferably. If we're wanting to play with a P8, 9 or 10 ball, then we can swap to that before we adjust. But if you do look to play with a ball with less power, which I know there are some people that want to do that, then we swap after we have made the adjustment. Max overpower with mainly a slow needle, especially with the higher power balls, and the drive shall be with a POC 8 at least, and perfect ball usually around 435 and 436. On the second shot we are playing a complete NMT, so we're not moving the target until it's time to adjust the rings. We're going to apply spins to get the ball guideline to be roughly half a green square short of the hole, pointing towards the hole, favoring right side of the pin if anything. From 435 and 436 yards we are going to adjust a custom base table, 8.7 rings for 7.5 miles per hour. This is the red angle, and I'm looking at the big tree in the distance combined with that little stone house or whatever it is. Circle break on the power only here, and we're going to apply some minor right curl the more crosswind we are having, because it will then lose speed coming onto the green. We bounce and then onto the fringe and gets to drop dead center for the albatross. Drive here on hole number 11. Here we can push hard. We can also be very conservative. I don't put any sort of right or wrong into that. It's really down to how you are as a player. I do feel though, like if we do have a tailwind of T, we could definitely allow ourselves to be more aggressive than what we could be here in a headwind. Now you can see that I'm going with a max OP needle as well, because I was curious to see how far can I reach with a luminary in headwind, and the answer is that I can actually reach quite far up the fairway and still have a short iron towards the pin. And again, if you do have a tailwind, and especially being able to use a wind zero ball and a P10, you could probably reach all the way by the green for a short wedge. I've been saying a couple of times here when it comes to making playthroughs for Quail Hollow is that we should be careful when we are using curl, so we're not putting the tree in the way, or trees in the way. Here we don't really have any trees on the right hand side, so you can actually allow yourself to go fairly aggressive with the curl to try to cut around the corner without obviously putting the bunkers in play at all. Now we have a pin check, and here we can decide to either go for a bounce up in some way, or we are going for a backspin shot. That's once again depends on what type of player you are. There is value with both of it. Some people just prefer a bounce up, some people prefer to go for a backspin shot. What needs to be said though is, like, if you are doing a bounce up shot, you are in that case going to have to play less elevation than what if you would be going with let's say a backspin shot. If you're playing a backspin shot, I would definitely add at least 20% elevation to the original elevation, just to compensate for the extra push that the bounces is going to give you. If you're bouncing up, like this, and then you don't really need that much elevation. And if you're lucky, we can drop it dead center. Hole number 12, if we do have a tailwind or a crosswind, we can get ourselves close to the green by not really trying that hard. And it is a fairly long par 4, and when we do have a headwind, we can always consider playing with a topspin boost ball to get close, or we can consider just lay up and have a short iron towards the pin. Either or, depending on what type of player you are. Some people, like myself, are very conservative and rather lay up shorter, whereof some would like to have a shaky needle and use some topspin boost. But here you can see we have a completely slow needle with a standard luminary, using as much topspin that we possibly can, and we will then get this ball to get very close to the green. Now, admittedly, I did not really try to go to the green, but you can see how close we are, and just with a little bit of push up, and also you can see the downslope on the green as well, make me think like if we would be having some practice tokens on this particular hole with this type of particular wind, we could trickle that ball onto the green and actually hunt the pin for a par 4 hole in one. So this is a typical par 4 where honestly it's going to be in a way where what wind do we have, and that's going to determine the difficulty massively. On hole number 13, we start with any sort of P10, side spin, 3 plus backspin boost, 7 plus ball. We apply spins first with the rocket, max backspin and 3.2 backspin boost with a hard 1 left spin. Now we're using the ball guideline on the green to be our only focus, which should be that we are with the tip of the ball guideline on the line between the dark and the bright green square row. The reason I'm not using the ring by the fringe, which would be normal if we are playing an older course, that's because the fringe kind of melts into the green a bit, and it's very hard to be consistent with that. So I choose to do the ball guideline instead. This is a wind angle that is in between the yellow and the blue angle. I decided to play it as the yellow angle, so I'm doing circle break on the power and 3 clicks of left curl. The ball gets past the pin and it rolls back, and you can see here we could have added an extra 1 just for being in between, but it worked well in the end. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guide from Master Division for the PGA Quail Hollow 18-hole Cup. Exclusively for those of you that have never tried our guides before. You can sign up for a free 7-day trial, try out and have some fun with the new Quail Hollow using the best guides on the market, which is our Ultimate Tournament text guide for Master. Free to play ball alternatives and paid ball alternatives. You can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description down below to sign up for this free 7-day trial. Make sure to choose a package that do have that included. Otherwise, obviously, you will not get access to the guide. If any issues before you sign up, then you can always reach out to our support at golfclashtommy.com. Wow, what a short par 4. Super short par 4 where even with a P6 ball, we are more than halfway towards the green. Now, the only thing to be had in mind here in terms of a risk factor is that the trees on the right could be put in play if we're using too much curl or just not adjusting it properly and putting them in play. It's kind of like easy to be fooled a little bit about that because we don't really see it when we adjust, but when the curl is being made, then yeah, that could be a problem. I'm using a 10% elevation as a base, and here I'm using a regular power 6 ball such as the Kingslayer to reduce the wind, but also give myself some side spin. And look here, without really, once again, even trying, we are having a short putt towards the pin to lock in the eagle. And regardless what type of wind direction you have from any tee box in the game, you will be able to reach for the green in one. For those of you that has been playing the qualifying round, will already notice that even with headwind from the third tee, we are getting the ball towards the green, hunting for a par 4 hole in one. And that is what's exciting with a hole like this. It's not so exciting to get the ball to green, because that's, I mean, it's exciting in a way, but it's not as exciting as it would be for a long distance drop, because it is fairly straightforward, and it's not so much difficulty on the drive. But when it comes to go for the par 4 hole in one, that's when it gets very exciting. So a very interesting and short par 4 here on hole 14. Hole number 15, and here you can see we don't really have much fairway to play on. However, it looks more scary than what it actually is. A way to attack this par 5 here is to get this ball around the corner of the rough, but that's going to then be very easy to get this ball to roll into the rough. Now, playing a play where you're actually going to bounce into the rough and roll out is going to be a way to go about it too, which is actually a very smart way of cutting the corner without really taking any risks. You can see here that we are bouncing, and I'm just playing extremely conservative up onto the fairway, taking little to no risk. And from here, we do have an open shot towards the pin. Now, if we do have a tailwind off tee, like a good tailwind, we could consider actually smashing the ball over the water and get ourselves to be either have a short wedge or actually get the ball all the way onto the green. That's an exciting thought, at least, but there are a lot of bunkers, so, you know, I'm not really sure. I'm just speculating, obviously, in that. 10% elevation on the drive is what I'm using as a downhill. Now, here, bouncing over the bunker is definitely an interesting thing. You can also go with a long iron with a lot of backspin and land it on green directly if you would so like. But as we don't really have many obstacles on the green itself, as it's fairly flat, and we can actually give ourselves plenty of room from going into the bunker, then bouncing over the bunker is definitely a very, very viable option. We have a perfect ball, and you can see we are bouncing over the bunker. Not the correct adjustment, obviously. Need a little bit more, but that's what you get when you do all by feel. But as a worst case scenario, we do have an eagle putt, and then the albatross is definitely in play. For hole number 16, we are going to try to cut around the corner as much as possible without putting in that much risk. Starting with QB at P3 NMT, then swapping immediately to Apocalypse and B52 or Grizzly Bag. All the top spin and all the right spin, one ball of right curl. This ball will go to roughly around 395 yards. You can see that we could technically be pushing a little bit more with right curl and put ourselves a little bit closer if we would so like. There is definitely a clear benefit from trying to get this ball to roll down that hill there, but it's not a must. It's all about obviously getting a consistent drive so you can attack this fairly bumpy green and area around the green with the second shot. On the second shot, we do a bottom white ring pin check. It's gonna be around the +0, 1 or 2 most of the time. We're gonna do 3 topspin and 4 right spin, a light 3 topspin to be exact. Looking to have the second bounce on the line between the 2 green square rows. And sorry, on the line between the 2 green squares, and then with the ball guideline to point to the right side of the cup. Adjust is going to be 1 to 1 as a base from +3 and +4. So here we're adjusting 8 rings. This is a wind angle that is in between the yellow and the blue wind angle, and I decided to play it as yellow because for me the ball wants to miss on the left hand side if anything, meaning that I come in with too much speed. If you're missing to the left with too much speed, we would recommend that you increase your 1201. If you're coming in with too slow speed and missing right, then we recommend to increase your 1159. Hole number 17, a par 3, is harder than what it looks. There is a strip of rough just above the water, which is definitely offering a very interesting play. I believe either to go far to the left or to be by the close to the bunker is the best place to be. Now the sand bump could definitely be something to look into. There is backspin boost plays that could be looked into as well. So there's many different alternatives here, but I do think like with this type of par 3, we don't really have that many funnels to play into. Now you can see I'm just trying out a rough bump, lands nicely into the rough and slides down onto the green, and we do have a birdie. 20% elevation is how I judge this one to be. Now, if we're looking from the tee box down towards the pin, it doesn't look that downhill, but how the game mechanics in Golf Clash is working is that when you're playing over a creek or like water like this, it will always affect the wind a little bit more than normal. Hole number 18 with Berserker, our option 1B. We are pushing to get the ball very close to the green. For those having a POC 7 and a POC 8, you slap on, sorry, a POC 6, 7 and 8, you slap on max top spin and 2 left spin. This is the wind angle that's in between the red and the yellow. We adjust max plus 20 P0, and then we're going to push up here after the adjustment. What we're doing in this particular wind angle is that I'm pushing up 7 rings for this wind strength as well. And we're doing 1.5 ball of left curl. We will increase the curl slightly if we do have more crosswind, and also going to push up a little bit more. A POC 6 will always push up a little bit more because we want to compensate for the lesser topspin. We want the ball to roll down the fairway, and we do want to be as close to the green possible. On the second shot, we are playing a wedge, and here you can decide to either play a no spin or you go with max topspin. Obviously, we don't have any topspin on a regular Berserker or topspin boost on a regular Berserker to use. But the max topspin version is definitely the one to be recommended if you do have Endbringer level 7 or level 8. Ball guideline into the hole, and we're going to do EB School minus 40% elevation P8. When it comes to the no spin, EB School plus 10% elevation P10 is our estimation there. Center ball hit perfect, and we should hopefully walk away with an eagle. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this back 9 playthrough. A mix of some of the holes with the win that we do have in the qualifying round of the PGA Championship 18-hole Cup, and also some other wins that is not really related to the tournament itself. If you do want to try out our Ultimate Tournament Text Guide, so use the free trial that we do still have active on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link in the description down below, or scan the QR code. Good luck in your Golf Clash game.